What up, everybody? We got to talk. We're going to go over the bullshit from today. We're going to be going over all of the stuff with Pam Bondi, the hate from Massey against Massey today about MAGA turning on and losing their shit because people are morons. But we need to talk about this shit. So share this out. Let's get some people in here. Let's get this going. And X is kind of messed up today, so I am not expecting a whole lot, to be very honest, because there is no notification of going live or anything. So share this out, get it out there. We're going to go over some stuff. We're going to start with Pam Bondi addressing Congress. And then we'll get into some of these other things. Like we got a lot of other things to go over. But let me get things. Oh, crap. Hang on one sec. I just realized I did not flip my screen around. Look what I did. There we go. Because I can't share with you guys what's on this screen. I got to move it around. So we'll go like this. So Pam Bondi today addressed Congress about the Epstein files because technically the Department of Justice did not uphold what passed in the bill for the Epstein files bill. That they did not release everything according to the way it was supposed to. And so when it came down to what happened today, this entire thing just blew up, but everybody was also ranting and raving about Thomas Massey supposedly voting against the SAVE Act. You can go see it on X. Everybody was saying it. A lot of people are deleting their posts now because he didn't vote against the SAVE Act. He actually voted against a rule change. Ignorance of people and talking heads on the internet and their Massey derangement syndrome, because that is a real thing, especially after today. And that exposed all of it, that people are just going to be sharing shit, even though they don't even know what the hell they're talking about. They're just going to go out and throw it. It's a mess. Thomas Massey is probably the most MAGA person in Washington, D.C. right now. And no one would have any proof or any evidence to say otherwise. Because as soon as you bring up Donald Trump, you got all the wars, you got all the tariffs, you got everything else. We went and kidnapped Maduro. None of that is America first. All of that is prioritizing other countries first, not us. And when it comes down to Thomas Massey, he is the GOAT right now. He is killing it and doing everything that I would expect a congressman to do. Oh, you want to spend money? No, we're $38 trillion in debt. We can't spend money. And then everybody gets mad because it went against Daddy Trump. Daddy Trump, it went against him, so everybody's mad. So when it comes down to it, these ignorant fucks on the internet should just stay away from politics. Let's get into this. Let me show you some of Pam Bondi's BS today, and we'll get into all of that. Is it that one? Here we go. Boom. This is Pam Bondi. I believe this was the opening today, the opening of it.
Epstein files. More than 500 attorneys and reviewers spent thousands of hours painstakingly reviewing millions of pages to comply with Congress's law. We've released more than 3 million pages, including 180,000 images, all to the public, while doing our very best in the time frame allotted by the legislation to protect victims. And if you brought us a victim's name that was inadvertently released, we immediately redacted it. All members of Congress, as you know, are invited to visit DOJ to see for yourselves. I want to take a moment to acknowledge the Epstein survivors who are here today. I'm a career prosecutor, and despite what the ranking member said, I have spent my entire career fighting for victims, and I will continue to do so.
Interesting.
I am deeply sorry for what any victim has been through, especially as a result of that monster. If you have any information to share with law enforcement about anyone who has hurt you or abused you, the FBI is waiting to hear from you. I want you to know that any accusations of criminal wrongdoing will be taken seriously and investigated. The Department of Justice is committed to holding criminals accountable to the fullest extent of the law. In 2025, the FBI arrested over 1,700 child predators, a 10% increase from 2024. We also located 2,700 victims of child exploitation and shut down 3.8 million dark web pedophile accounts. 3.8 million. So please, if you have information to share that needs to be investigated, contact the FBI.
I'm pretty sure the FBI is someone I won't be contacting. They're useless. They didn't deliver on anything. And one of the videos we're going to watch here in just a minute, Pam Bondi is trying to deflect and try to pull out every MAGA talking point against Thomas Massey when he was grilling Pam Bondi over this. Why did Pam Bondi have Welker? I can never say his name right. Why did Pam Bondi have his name redacted? Why was his name redacted from a co-conspirator until she was forced to? That's what I'll pull up that video next. Like, when it comes down to Pam Bondi and everything that she has been doing, she is not delivering on anything when it comes to the Epstein files, arresting anybody in Congress. We wanted to drain the swamp. A lot of us wanted to actually get politicians arrested. We wanted to see people held accountable. 2020, if that was really a thing of the election was stolen, where's the evidence and where's the handcuffs? Let's do it. We're not seeing any of that. None of it. And this is where you got to start questioning who in the hell is going to do this? Are we ever going to see any arrests of any politician in Congress? Are we ever going to see that any accountability inside our government? Probably not, is the answer. Because right now, if these files, and we're going to hear about it, we got 5 minutes of video that we're going to go through. We're going to hear about names and how horribly they handled this situation. They didn't follow any laws in the Epstein Files Transparency Act. They tried to skirt around things, tried to not do anything that they were supposed to. And we're not holding Pam Bondi accountable. At least we have Pam Bondi in front of Congress today. But it was mostly Democrats sitting up on the panel interviewing Pam Bondi. Where in the hell were the Republicans? Like, where in the hell were the Republicans en masse going to this. Like, some of them were there. There should have been a lot more talking about this today.
Is an email that was sent by the victim's lawyers to the DOJ. It was a list of names not to redact, or sorry, a list of names not to release. What did the DOJ do with this email? They released this email in the document production. Literally the worst thing you could do to the survivors, you did. And they're getting phone calls. A lot of these people didn't want to be known. And we know you touched the document because you redacted one name and you redacted the lawyer's name, but you left the survivor's name there.
Why did they redact the lawyer's name? Why did they redact, like, why are we redacting information? We were supposed to only be redacting like victims and current investigations. We don't know of a single lawsuit going on about Epstein. Not one. So why is a lawyer being redacted also? These are things that people don't catch on to, but this shit is awful. It's horrible.
The next document I want to show you, that was in the title, the victims' survivors' names, all right? The title of this one is Child Sex Trafficking, Co-Conspirators, Fully Redacted. And by the way, I'm going to unredact them here.
There's dipshit.
Les Wexner is in this. Now, your deputy attorney general said, oh, well, he appears hundreds of times in the files, but he doesn't appear in this file until I forced you to release it, where he's listed as a co-conspirator, not to tax evasion, but to child sex trafficking, not to prostitution, not to money laundering, child sex trafficking. And then finally, what we have here is the third exhibit that I have is emblematic of the FD 302 release. These are the documents that we need that you're holding on to and over redacting because they have the names of the men who are implicated. How do we know? Because the survivors gave testimony to the FBI and it's in there. And what happens when you go to the portal at the DOJ to look at what's behind this redaction? Another redaction. So we can't even see them. And then there's some of these files you've pulled down from the website that we will never see because we can't search the redactions. So I have several questions for you.
This is insane. And I got to call this out, guys. The chat's not showing up on the screen. X, there was this pop-up that tonight before I went live saying X has some issues. Yay, X. Go grok with the algorithm because it's working so well. Thank you. But I just pulled up your comments on the side, so I can see your comments here. Like, what up, Jim Bob? When was the last time the DOJ did anything right? I agree, man. I agree. And yes, it is, man, it's all by design. That's all I could say is it's all by design. Totally disagree with you. What do you disagree with me on, Jim Bob? What do you disagree with me on? Les Wexner's name was only redacted one time by mistake. 4,000 pages of documents mentioning Les. But the critical thing to note, we just heard it. The critical thing to note, it was redacted when he was listed as a co-conspirator. So yeah, he's in the files, just like Bill Clinton, just like many others. But a co-conspirator, saying that he had some involvement in it, is what was thought. That is a huge thing. We shouldn't hide that. That should actually be out in the public. And honestly, I think all redactions other than victims should be removed. I don't care who it is. And we're going to touch on some of these files in a minute later in the show. But like, we're going to touch on the beef jerky topic. We're going to touch on Pam Bondi's friend, Keith Freckle or whatever his name is. Yeah, like, you can be mentioned in these files, but the problem is he's a co-conspirator. It doesn't get him away from anything. Doesn't get him any more leeway just because he's in the files, but he's listed as a co-conspirator as he might have been doing things with Epstein to make this happen. And that's a problem. Shouldn't be hiding that. Shouldn't be hiding that at all.
For you, who's responsible? Are you able to track who in your organization made this massive failure and released the victims' names? Are you able
agree,
to
Terry.
track who it was that obscured Les Wexner's name as a co-conspirator in an FBI document? Do you have that kind of accountability?
I believe Wexner's name was listed more than 4,000 times.
Yeah, I already told you that.
Can I
This is
finish-
where he's listed as a
Can I finish
co-conspirator.
my answer? Come on, let me finish my answer. We corrected that within 40 minutes. He was already, you're acting like everybody's trying to cover up Wexner's name.
Reclaiming
He was
my
Facts, Mark.
time.
I'm going to answer this question.
Reclaiming my time.
He
It's-
was,
Mr.
this
Chairman,
isn't how this works.
can I have my time
He
back?
was,
Mr. Chairman,
The gentlelady can give her answer. The time belongs to the gentleman from.
all right, I'm
Kentucky.
reclaiming my
Can I give
time.
my answer?
So I'm
Yes.
going to put the language of the bill up on the screen.
Chairman,
because I
may I
have
give my
another
answer
question.
on that?
If-
Here-
It's a political
the question.
joke, and I need to give my answer
Yep,
on that.
we'll let the Attorney General respond, and then the gentleman can move to his
Chairman,
next question.
it's my time.
Within 40
Chairman.
minutes, you asked me a question.
You can give
Within
me-
40 minutes, Wexner's name was added back.
Within 40 minutes
You
of me catching you red-handed.
There was one redaction out
Where
of
he's
over
listed as a
4,700,
co-conspirator.
Okay.
and we
You know
invited
what?
you
Switch-
in.
show the video.
This
Show
guy
the-
has Trump
Gentlemen.
derangement syndrome. He needs to.
Show the-
You're a failed
He won.
politician.
Did
Gentlemen,
Epstein
need to
time
get
I
on
want you to
things
watch
that
the
matter.
video.
Right here.
Chairman,
Watch
please
this.
restore his
Time.
time and remind the witness of the
himself.
rules
There
here.
is
Time.
no
I-
credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals.
Wait, Kash Patel. Hey, he didn't traffic to any other individuals? Why in the hell is there a list of people that was released by the DOJ on accident that's saying they were trafficked and they are victims of this? Hey, Kash Patel, everybody that's defending you, they should eat shit because you are a lying piece of garbage. You are defending the corruption in our government when you were supposed to be against it. You and Dan Bongino and Pam Bondi did exactly what I would expect. Dan Bongino and you, I had a little bit of hope that you might do something, but turns out you did exactly what normal politicians, normal people do in government. You protect each other. You don't give a shit about the Epstein victims. You don't give a shit about anything in America. You are one selfish human being, just like the rest of government.
Is that your position as well?
My position is any victim who comes forward, of course, we would love to hear from them. 1-800-CALL-FBI. Did you ask Merrick Garland that the last 4 years? Did you talk about Epstein?
I am reclaiming
all
my
the
time.
last
I'm
4
glad you're
years?
asking about Merrick
You
Garland.
don't get a
By the way, he did talk about Epstein in the last 4 years when Joe Biden was president. I'll pull up the tweet because everybody in MAGA keeps using that freaking talking point, acting like they're intelligent when they're not. They literally have no fucking clue on what they're talking about. And all they're doing is regurgitating talking points. And yeah, I'm swearing I'm a little hot today over this because what MAGA did to Thomas Massey today is bullshit. And we're going to get into that after this.
claim
Because this
time when
is
you don't-
bigger
when
than
you can't-
Watergate.
When I don't answer
This-
a question the way
This
you
goes
want.
over 4 administrations. You don't have to go
Four.
back to Biden. Let's go back to Obama.
go.
Let's go back to George Bush. This cover-up spans decades, and you are responsible for this portion of it.
And that's
Now,
where the
I want to
most
know at
transparent-
what point did the FBI and the DOJ decide that Lex Wessner was not a co-conspirator? Because our Epstein Files Transparency Act requires you, please put it
Time is
back on
up.
the screen,
Here it is. Here's the law
to
that she did
release
not
the
uphold.
internal decision about whether to prosecute him or not, and it's not in the files, and it's not in the files for any of these other men.
Time of the gentleman has
Which
expired.
may she answer?
And he's a hypocrite because he voted against the ban.
Listen to this. Hang on. I got to call this out. You got to listen to this. This is your typical stupid argument that she is stuck in a corner, so she's going to bring up something that doesn't even fucking matter. Doesn't even apply.
He voted against the ban that we were talking about on deep fake AI porn. Only 2 people voted against it, and you were one of them, hypocrite.
Hypocrite. Really? And this is where our government, where I'm more and more to the point, and I've told you guys this many times, I'm not voting for president ever again. I'm giving up on Congress. I'm going to start prepping and preparing my community and myself for when everything collapses, because you have this stupid shit going on in DC, and she thinks she's so intelligent and she can't even have a logical conversation with any type of knowledge of this situation. She has to turn around and bring up something that doesn't even apply to this situation right now because she is stuck. This is your attorney general, which also promoted red flag laws during Trump's first administration. Let me get that link for you, Iron. Let me go and grab it. I had to go and get that earlier today for some people. So I'll just leave it here and I'll just reload the link. Thomas Massey, not that one. Wrong link. Hang on. Is it wrong one? This one. This is the link I wanted. That one, he talked about Epstein files in 2024, but he doesn't really talk about releasing them, so I don't really go around saying that. But this one, let's zoom in here for everybody to see. Thomas Massey, I demand the release of the Epstein client list. February 10th, 2024. Pretty sure Joe Biden was president then. So all of your MAGA talking points that anybody is trying to say that Massey never talked about anything prior to Donald Trump becoming president, this is your evidence. I demand, and this is his, it's not a screenshot, it's him responding to this individual, whoever this person is. And so he said, I demand the release of the Epstein client list. Boom. So anybody that says he did not talk about it prior to Donald Trump being president is ignorant, and they're just regurgitating the same MAGA talking points. That's all they're doing. All right, back on track. The other thing that was hilarious today, Pam Bondi, she's just great. This was, I can't remember the congresswoman that was going after her. She's right here. I can't remember her name. But this was hilarious.
Was the president aware of Secretary Lutnick's ties to Epstein when he chose him to lead the Department of Commerce? Was he aware?
Chris Malin was a Border Patrol agent.
Okay, so I'm going to conclude that the president, in fact, did know about his ties because he was the next door neighbor.
Shame on you.
Oh, for goodness sakes.
You're
This
from
is
a tiny,
pathetic.
beautiful
This is
state.
pathetic,
The
Mr.
committee will be
Chair.
in order.
I am not asking trick questions here. The
You got your
American
5
people
minutes.
have a right to know the answers to this. These are senior officials in the Trump administration. This is not a game, Secretary.
I'm Attorney General.
My apologies, I couldn't tell.
Apparently, Pam Bondi doesn't like being called a secretary. Attorney General. Well, this is how ridiculous our shit show in government is. So if you want to know why we're $38 trillion in debt, why we keep fighting over stupid bullshit that doesn't really matter, it's because we have people like this that can't really just focus on the facts and release the information. We are talking about Epstein files that were people were doing, how to phrase it, not get in trouble, bad things with children. And we can't even unify on that message. That's how pathetic this is right now. We can't even unify around a story of getting the Epstein stuff all out in the clear so we have the facts so we can hold people accountable. We can't even unify around holding pedophiles accountable. You know how sad that is to say? And Pam Bondi is making every excuse in the book on why they did what they did. Every excuse. Let me see if this works. I'm going to turn this off and turn it back on. Nope. All right, we'll turn that off for right now. It's annoying me. So she is making all the excuses in the book and can't really address anything. All day today, she was making excuses and she was deflecting. And here's the next one that I want to show you on how she was deflecting.
Ow.
This one's great. This one, all of a sudden, we're talking about Epstein files. We're talking about all of this stuff. We need to have accountability. We need to have all of this. But Pam Bondi says, no, that's not important. We need to hear about
The Dow right now is over. The Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Rascal.
We're all laughing because of how stupid you are, Pam. You want to talk about the Dow being over $50,000, and then you're going to bring up the S&P and how everybody's 401k is doing so great. You're going to be bringing up all of this bullshit that doesn't really matter, but you are focused. You don't want to talk about holding pedophiles accountable. We want to talk about the Dow.
The Dow right now is over. The Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. The Dow is
everybody
over
in Congress is.
50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000. And the NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming. That's what we should be talking about. We should be talking about making Americans safe.
Oh, wait, making Americans safe. Shouldn't that be against pedophiles? Fucking pedophiles, Pam. Pam, if you want to make Americans safe, let's arrest pedophiles. Please. That's all we want. Can we arrest pedophiles?
We should be talking about, what does the Dow have to do with anything? That's what they just asked.
Yeah, what does the Dow have to do with this, Pam?
Are you kidding?
Nope.
Mr. Jordan,
Mr.
Jordan.
Committee?
Are you kidding? She literally was reading all of this shit off of the piece of paper in front of her. And I showed you she has like this whole script and all of this that she was reading from, but she could not even have a proper response to address why the Dow is so important in this hearing. Are you kidding? Yeah, we really want to know why Dow is so important, because guess what? The next generation of kids could be affected by pedos, and we need to be arresting and holding them accountable. And you don't want to be doing that, Pam. That's the problem. All right, I've spent a lot of time talking about Pam. Let's move on. One last thing from this hearing we have to focus on. We have to bring this up because this is your tax money hard at work, guys. I just want to make sure you know. $175,000 is going to this dude every year just to sleep during congressional hearings. Is that what you vote for? Because it's not what I vote for. This guy's fucking sleeping. Sleeping. What a disgrace. You are supposed to be a public servant and to be able to serve Americans, and you're sleeping during a congressional hearing. He is pathetic. And I'm going to turn the audio down. Let's see if we ever get him waking up in here. No, he's fallen deeper into that sleep. Look at this, guys. This is an embarrassment, an absolute embarrassment in our country. We should be holding all of these people accountable and removing them from their position. They're not serving us. They're sleeping in office, and they really don't want to do anything that serves us. They only serve their special interests. Rumor has it, if everyone involved in the Epstein situation came to light, we would collapse. Good. Burn it all down. Burn it all down. I don't care. Because if everything collapses, we're going to start all over and all of these idiots will be gone. And that's the only way I see we fix it at this point. Voting is not going to work. voting is not going to work. Republicans are not going to show up in 9 months to change the midterms. So the midterms are going to the Democrats. And so Donald Trump will be on a lame duck presidency. So yeah, let it all collapse. Why do you think I keep saying I'm focused on my community, I'm focused on me, and I'm focused on my state? Because if the government collapses, I don't want to be dependent on them. My state shouldn't be dependent on them. We should be able to succeed and survive. We need to be focused on making sure we're surviving, not feeding politicians' lifestyles. And so that's where, yeah, let it collapse. Let it collapse. The dollar's already in the shitter. Like, you can't even make this stuff up. We keep trying to say the economy is great, but the dollar is awful. And how you know when the dollar is awful? When gold and silver goes through the roof, and it's done that just in the last month or two. But it's sad, guys. It's sad. I hate talking like this about our country, but when we start talking and looking at these situations with reality, we somehow keep re-electing these idiots. How in the hell do we have all of these people in office until they die? They keep getting reelected. If no one's voting for them, then the whole system is rigged. Then why are we participating? Now, I will say, still participate in your local elections. Those will not have the voting issues that you see on the federal level. Because guess where your taxes come, your property taxes come from? Well, the increases and all of that. That's all local. None of that is done at the federal government level. You want your property taxes going down? Show up to your school board meetings, show up to city council meetings, county council meetings, all of those things. That is where you take back control. And if we are going to be dependent on the federal government, we're going to fail, because our system was not set up to do that. But they're trying to set it up to do so. They're trying to do it. And you have freaking congressmen falling asleep in congressional hearings. Let's see. What else do we got? All right, let's touch on Thomas Massie voting against the SAVE Act. Let's pull this up. We got to touch on this because this is me coming, like, where I came into this pretty hot today because I was chewing people out for being stupid as hell on X. And let me see if I can find the idiots that actually pushed it, or did they delete it all? I figured it was just going to be easy to search it. And, oh, imagine that. Oh, here's one. Oh, it's a fresh post. And he's spreading lies. Let's see. That is, yeah, here it is. Let's share. Let's share, guys. Share. Wrong page. Save Act Massey. So right here, you have this page. This page, I don't know, Whiplash 347. You gonna even show me anything about this account? Anyways, every Republican in the House, let's zoom in a little bit. Every Republican in the House voted in favor of the Save American Act, with the exception of Thomas Massie. Hang on. Something's weird here. Res 1057. It's not the SAVE Act, you idiot. Like, everybody was losing their minds. MAGA was losing their minds, saying Massie voted against the SAVE Act when he didn't. He voted against a rule change that he didn't want to see continue. He didn't actually vote against the SAVE Act. This is where people were being stupid and were talking about stuff they know nothing about. Nothing. Massie did end up voting for the SAVE Act. This is a rule change that he voted against, not the actual SAVE Act. It is really stupid that we have so many talking heads on the internet talking about politics when they have zero freaking clue on what they're talking about. All they do is they push their agenda or whatever MAGA talking points that they want without even researching or even understanding. And if you guys don't believe me, go on X and just look at my wall. Go look at all of the stuff I've been doing today. I've been calling people out left and right for their lies because, one, I'm a Massey fan. I really like Massey. And we need to all rally around him because he is the only one in government, in Congress, actually delivering on America First agendas. Everybody else is still, oh yeah, we're good for new wars. Everyone else is for, oh yeah, we'll kidnap your president. Everyone else is for, oh yeah, we'll spend more money with the big beautiful bill, or a $1.2 trillion spending package that includes money going to Israel, money going to Greenland, money to go to Egypt, all of these other countries. What does that have to do with the government spending and government being open? That's what we went over last week. Thomas Massey is the one that's actually doing the right things and calling the right stuff. Most of MAGA don't understand that, and they're only getting mad at him because of Daddy Trump. Daddy Trump said to hate on Massey, so they are all hating on Massey. It's really freaking retarded. All right, let's get into a couple of the Epstein files. I already spent a lot of time on some of this already. Holy cow. We're moving along. Epstein file stuff. Back to the person I didn't really want to talk about, but we have this person. Where did that tab go? What the freak? That one? There we go. Hey, who's that? We have Keith Frankel. Keith Frankel is in here. And Keith Frankel is with Pam Bondi. And Keith Frankel is also in the Epstein files, talking about sending an email to Jeffrey Epstein. Why in the hell is there an attached PDF called the Body Box? Pam Bondi is hanging out with Keith Frankel, getting a picture. Keith Frankel is in the Epstein files, sending emails to Jeffrey Epstein about a body box. What the hell is going on? Is Pam Bondi just protecting her friends? I'm starting to think so. Pam Bondi was over this case when it was in Florida a very long time ago. She was involved in a lot of it. She knows quite a bit about this case. Like, none of these files are, some of them are probably a little bit of a surprise, but she knows the context of this whole story. So when she starts lying about the Epstein files, it becomes very apparent because she has known about a lot of this stuff for a long time, but now she's in the driver's seat of all of it. But she was just caught she was in a picture with Keith Frankel that sent this email to Jeffrey Epstein about a body box. It's a little weird. Let's see. The next thing to go pull up on the Epstein files. This one. In this email. Whoa, I went a little too far. Here we go. So in this email here, let's zoom in. So right over here, I have the body double, and I bought the nitrile gloves. We're not allowed to use latex. What the freak? And why is this name redacted? It's emailing Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein doesn't have an email at the end. A lot of people called this out in the comments and other posts. There's no email, probably because it's in a contact list, or this is from Jeffrey Epstein's email box, so it doesn't put your email when it's there. The part that I don't understand here, why in the freak are we redacting who this is from? What logic is in this? What logic? Why is this? Is it an ongoing investigation? Is that what we're talking about? Let me pull up this post because this is what it's reminding me of, guys. Let me see. There we go. Noxie. Shout out to Noxie. Noxie is awesome. This email. This email is another one to Jeffrey Epstein from someone we don't know. Okay. I don't know why. Why it's redacted. Subject line. Okay. Maybe that's a victim name. I'll give you the subject line. Maybe it's a victim name. Okay. That can stay redacted. Why in the hell is the body of the email say age 11? That's the only thing in the email. Age 11. What the freak is going on? And Pam Bondi wanted to talk about Dow. She didn't want to talk about this because this email, like out of all of them, this one should light a fire under everybody's ass. Everyone. There is no reason to have this name redacted. Not one. And then it has an attached photo, full-size render. Who knows what that is? There is no reason that name should be redacted. Because we know what is in the rest of these files. There are photos, there are videos, there are a whole bunch of stuff. By this saying age 11 in the email, that should tell us everything. And this name should be called in for having to testify to Congress. They should have to be addressing what this email was about. These are problems, guys. These are huge problems in these emails. And Pam Bondi is in front of Congress wanting to talk about Dow and your 401k. Is that what matters? Doesn't matter to me. Who sent this email matters. We really need to start bringing back let's say tar and feathers, because there's stuff I want to say that I could get in trouble for saying. We should bring back tar and feathers, but I mean it in a much more physical way of beating somebody's butt, because this email is not okay. Not at all. It's gross. It's disgusting. And there is no reason to have that name redacted. Not one. Next email from MJ Truth. Everybody was talking about Pizzagate. Like, we've known Pizzagate has been around for a long time. Pizzagate was a thing. I actually even had to explain it to my wife a couple days ago on everything with Pizzagate. They talked about pizza a lot. And Jim Bob, you mentioned, we talked about it a little bit earlier about beef jerky. We're going to get to the beef jerky stuff here in just a minute. The pizza monster is the subject line. And it says, you mean radiating a soft glow with the look of bliss and excitement. Yeah, that's the pizza. Next line. Well, highlighted part. She looks pregnant. What the freak? This is another email. Why in the hell is this name redacted? I want to know who sent this email. But no, Pam Bondi wants to talk about the Dow and your 401k. Not this email. When it comes down to this administration, it is a complete and utter joke. This administration is trash in what they're doing, in what they're going over. They're not delivering on any more campaign promises. They were done with that within a few months. They at least pardoned Ross Ulbricht. They got a couple things done right away. Excuse me. Doge was going to town. We are seeing things breaking down and trying to cut spending, getting rid of all of the bloat. And then something triggered with this administration, because all of that stuff stopped. Every single bit of it. And you have Kash Patel, Dan Bongino, Pam Bondi, everybody that we were hoping would go out and start arresting people. You have all of them defending this email saying the Dow is more important. It's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. All right, let's get into the beef jerky stuff. This is gross. I'm going to give you a heads up. It's a little gross, but we have to understand there is another code word in here, and pizza wasn't the big deal like we all thought. We all knew about Pizzagate. We all knew that. We all knew what was talked about there. But now we got beef jerky.
Meat? Wait, what? People going crazy think they found a code word for human meat? Wait, what? Hope you are feeling better. Did we analyze the jerky? Why didn't we get jerky this week? I also added more to the jerky and ginger lemongrass. Thank you so much. Super cool. Beef jerky, delicious. Jojo is here and we'll walk the jerky over to Jeffrey. Why would jerky walk around? Why would it do that? Delicious lunch, beef jerky. Steve and I are very grateful above all for your friendship. Some of these emails are so wholesome, aren't they? It's too bad they eat kids. A small insulated bag would be fine. I don't recommend checking it. No need for crazy amounts of ice. One should do. There is one bag of beef jerky in the fridge. Please get it.
You guys put beef jerky in the fridge? I don't. Is that supposed to make it last longer? Because I thought beef jerky was dry and dehydrated, that it doesn't need to go into the fridge. Why are we putting beef jerky in the fridge?
Also, Blank has more at her place. Please get it from her as well. I suppose it needs to be in a cold, insulated bag. Just wanted to touch base about jerky. J.E. said he was going to start eating regular food again, so he might be eating less jerky. He said he has 6 bags of it in a downstairs freezer. Why
is it in the freezer?
you freeze jerky? Steve needs a 6 to 8 ounce portion of jerky. I gave you all the jerky we had, and it lasted only half the amount of time it was meant to. I felt like it was more important for you to have the jerky to eat during my time off. My plan is to make a batch before I leave for LSJ, and some of that will go to Steve, and the rest will go to you at LSJ when I arrive. Little St. James Island. That's what LSJ must mean. So logically, that means that they were doing this off of the island. Steve Hansen is sending jerky to your attention overnight. I believe it should be enough to get him through. Jeffrey Epstein is asking to bring him more jerky. I'm flying in on Friday. I will bring jerky. Is there a time I could come say hi and drop off the beef jerky? And that's from Jeffrey Epstein. Francis has time to come tomorrow. Show me how to make it. Jerky class anyone. He will bring you to taste his new jerky recipe from the restaurant. He sends a warm hello. He's working at a restaurant called guys, the restaurant's called Cannibal and Cooks. Wait for it. Beef jerky and steak. Can blank make some jerky? I think we should landscape all around the house to use the water if possible. If the main house is not enough. Are there any recorded images of Jeffrey Epstein with beef jerky at all? No, there are no recorded or publicly known images of Jeff Epstein with beef jerky. Who sends beef jerky to a lab for analysis? Wait, what? I was looking for the beef jerky as I knew it was in my suitcase, and I thought that maybe I left it on the beach, only to find a small plastic bag near my dog's bed. I'll email Francis to make us some more, as I need 6 to 8 ounces to send to the lab, and I'll forward to Francis the info to send to the lab directly. Guys, I think something's going on. What's this here? Commercial. Apparently it's his last girlfriend who's active on Twitter right now. Check the mail. Names for hers again. Oh boy, oh boy. People are saying this is Jeffrey Epstein's last girlfriend.
Yes.
And this is the same name as inside of the files, and her name change hasn't occurred since 2017, before the files released. After years of silence, the truth. Jeffrey was innocent. I really? Like, he just a good boy? He didn't do nothing wrong? Trapped by powerful people who silenced him. I was his last confidant, and I have the evidence that they're still hiding. I'm not suicidal, just in case. You'll know the whole truth soon. They sacrificed children to Lucifer. It's an entire cult. Jeffrey got involved in their operation for financial reasons and to obtain Combraprat, but never participated in the rituals. Oh, what is this here? I'll pull this one up and see it. That's crazy. She cooked in the brain? Maybe. She ate the brain? Yeah, maybe she did. Wire transfer request form. A 65-gallon, guys, 655-gallon sulfuric acid with fuel and insurance charge? They are dissolving bodies.
Yep. It's disturbing, guys. And Pam Bondi wants you to talk about the Dow. The Dow and your 401k is what matters. Not any of this shit that we just watched this 4-minute video on. Not any of the files that we've looked at. Not any of the things that Thomas Massie was calling out in the hearing today. Your government is telling you to talk about the Dow. Not all of this. That should scare the shit out of you. Because everybody is complicit with that. Everybody, and I say MAGA everybody. I know most of you know me and are probably along the same lines as I am from views, but our government is wanting us to walk away from this, and we cannot. We absolutely cannot. And this is not Dan Bongino saying that this is the most important thing, and then he gets into his job and nope, he killed himself. This is an issue that we need to keep putting pressure on them. This is why they're going after Thomas Massie, is because he actually forced their hand to release these files. People keep trying to say Thomas Massie never achieved anything, never passed any bills. I actually think that's a very effective congressman trying to protect my taxpayer dollars. I'm okay with that. But he did pass a bill that was forcing the Department of Justice, that was trying to tell us that this entire video we just watched with all of those files is a hoax. When Pam Bondi is in a photo with what's his face, Keith Frankel, and he's in these same files. He sent emails to Jeffrey Epstein about going to his island or parties with him. Pam Bondi is trying to cover this up. And she even said, "Oh, what is this? Some big cover up?" And she was trying to play this off in the hearing today. This entire administration should be tarred and feathered for trying to tell us that these are a hoax. And that this is all garbage, that we don't need to be paying attention to it. We need to expect better from our elected officials, but that's where I also struggle. I don't see that voting harder is going to fix this. Our federal government is so close-knit and tied into the corruption. There is probably so much blackmail on them. There is no way we will ever see accountability for this. We can demand it. We can talk about it. We can get all of this out there. But there's still those people that are saying Donald Trump is the best option, the best solution for us. No. The best solution is we build strong communities, because this country is in very bad shape. 2026 is going to turn this presidency into a lame duck presidency. Donald Trump doesn't have anything to give anybody anything to run on for this election. And then when 2026 turns seats, JD Vance has nothing to run on for 2028, just like Kamala. This is bad shape, guys. We are not in a good place. We really need to be calling this out. We need to keep talking about the Epstein files, regardless of what this administration says and how much they tell us it's a hoax. It is important that we get all of this information out and we keep talking about it, because there needs to be something done. And the only way we can do that is transparency and truth. When your government keeps telling you they are the most transparent administration in history, you got to start looking at, are they really? And they're showing their true colors right now because they are not. They are trying to cover this up and hide it. And there's got to be reasons. That freak out session between Elon Musk and Donald Trump, and Elon Musk let it out saying Donald Trump's in the Epstein files. Now, there's a file that says that Donald Trump blew the whistle on all of this, which is possible. I'm not saying it's not. But why did Donald Trump say this is a hoax then? If Donald Trump actually blew the whistle on this, as people are saying, and here, let me see if I can find that file real quick. Let me see if I can find that file real quick. Donald Trump. Right here. Oh, Bill Mitchell, you special individual. We'll pull up Bill Mitchell's post. Even though he just recently followed me. He's a special individual. So in here, Trump knew. So someone worked at Mar-a-Lago. Trump knew of it, and came to my house many times during that period. The testimony of the house, John confirmed it. He never got a massage. But overall, when it came down to Donald Trump and everything that he was involved in, they're trying to say that he blew the whistle on, here it is. Here is the file I wanted. This was the wrong one. And here's the stupid caption from Apologetically MAGA. Sorry, dude, you're following me, but you're wrong. You're probably wrong on this one. Oh, no, not this problem. Hang on, guys. People just took a freaking screenshot and made it difficult. There we go. Trump said Maxwell was Epstein's operative. She is evil and to focus on her. That's what Trump said. Trump was one of the very first people to call when people found out that they were investigating Epstein. Donald Trump, if this was a hoax, why is your name in here saying this? Did you put this in here to try to make you look clean? Donald Trump? Or are there stuff that we just haven't discovered yet? Because a lot of this stuff is not adding up. And most of you know I don't trust the government. I don't like them. I used to vote for congressional and federal government. No more. No more. It's disgusting. And our current government is defending and fighting to hide pedophiles in this country. That's disgusting. And we should not be accepting that. Anybody that wants to accept that, that's a huge problem. Huge problem. All right, let's change topics. Last topic. It's a quick topic. Talking about the Super Bowl and Donald Trump and all of this stuff. Let's pull this up. I want to pull up Donald Trump's talk about the Super Bowl. Donald Trump's talk about the Super Bowl. So Donald Trump was talking about the Super Bowl halftime show. And he said it was absolutely terrible. One of the worst ever. Well, sure. I didn't watch it. I had the TPUSA one on because my parents wanted to watch it. I didn't really care. You guys know I'm losing a lot of faith and a lot of trust in the TPUSA organization. There's been enough coming out about them that I have my reservations. And so I'm just going to take it easy and see how things play out. But Donald Trump didn't even tweet or truth post, whatever you freaking call it. Donald Trump didn't even talk about TPUSA's halftime show. Why is that? If that was a big movement of MAGA sticking it to the system of the NFL and the NFL, why did Donald Trump not even say a good thing about TPUSA's halftime show? In my opinion, this, while I probably agree, I'm not a big fan, Bad Bunny fan. So I also can say 3 Spanish words, so I didn't even know what he was saying the whole time. But when it comes down to the halftime show, if the MAGA movement is really going to make a change in this country, this post should have just talked about TPUSA. If Donald Trump was all about actually fixing this and getting a movement to go in the right direction, he wouldn't have even talked about the normal halftime show. You would talk about the counter movement. And that is what Charlie Kirk was about. That's why I loved Charlie Kirk. And I loved what he did. He would always do things to counter and to be the opposite of what the system and what everybody is doing, to not only be different, but also to shine light and to be able to expose the people that have really shitty ideals and opinions because they haven't really been educated. And he did it in such a way, he was still respectful majority of the time. Like, yeah, he lost his shit on a couple big liberals over the years, but when it comes down to it, all Donald Trump needed to do here was talk and make a post about TPUSA and how great their halftime show was, and his friend Kid Rock, and how his friend Kid Rock did so good. But no, Donald Trump did what everybody in MAGA does, his Twitter fingers. He went and just ranted on Truth Social about the worst halftime show. Oh, that was weird. Okay, I'm back, I think. This indicates Donald Trump had the Bad Bunny halftime show up at his house watching the Super Bowl. Donald Trump's a big sports fan, so I know he was watching. But if Donald Trump really wanted to make an impact and really wanted to push things forward with the MAGA movement and to be able to counter the woke agenda and the evil in government, you wouldn't tweet this. You would actually just tweet how great the TPUSA halftime show was. That's how you win the culture war. That's how you win those things, is you do a counter move that counters what they're doing, and then you actually celebrate it. He didn't even do that. Didn't even tweet about it. But he spent time talking about Bad Bunny. This is how distracted he is and how out of touch he is. This is why we also shouldn't be electing 80-year-old people as presidents. We really need to get out of that habit. But that's all I had with the TPUSA thing. The last thing I'll say about it, actually, real quick, is everybody was touting the Monday after, 20 million views or this many views. Yeah. That's because so many people had it up on multiple devices in every household. And so it increased the view count. I'm not trying to diminish it. I'm just being factual. There were multiple phones on in my house because my family was here that had the halftime show up on their phone, even though I had it up on my 82-inch TV on the wall. So those numbers that everybody's bragging about is the movement that Charlie Kirk was trying to do. That's what you should do. But Donald Trump let the entire movement down in that scenario because he should have talked about it. And if he would have talked about it, it would have been a much bigger deal. But no, he chose to talk about Bad Bunny and how it was the worst halftime show he's ever seen. That is how you know we will not win the culture war. That is how you know that the system and all of this, it's gone, guys. It's gone. I don't see that we will vote our way out of this. We got to be prepping. Should be prepping all the time regardless, in my opinion. Prepping is not something you do when a disaster is coming. You do it every day, so you're already prepared. But we need to be arming ourselves, protecting ourselves, and setting ourselves up in case the government does collapse or have any issues, the dollar's not in a good spot. So I encourage all of you guys to start preparing. I've always been that way. I've always been a prepper myself. And it's a little bit of natural instinct for me because that's encouraged with Mormons. Mormons are normally taught and preached to about having a year supply of food and water and those things on hand for the day that it all goes down. And I think we need to start being prepared because right now our country is in a really rough state, and we can't even trust anybody in the administration to tell us the truth. They are constantly gaslighting us, and we need to still be demanding the truth. But we need to know and also realize that what they say is probably not going to be, what comes out of their mouth is probably not going to be true. But we need to be demanding it. See if we can get anything out of it. On that note, guys, we're going to wrap it up here. Thanks for tuning in with me. All the hiccups. Sorry I couldn't put the chat on the screen. I see everything on the side here. Hopefully X gets this all figured out and that little hiccup that we had earlier. We're back on this every Wednesday. You have the game show live this weekend from the Libertarian Party in California, and that is all going down this weekend. Be tuning in. Well, you won't be able to tune in on that because it's not live. Well, I'm sure there will be some clips and stuff that Free will share. We'll get all that all pushed out. And I don't know what the next schedule is for the game show, so I won't promote that. But Jack Danger has his Secret America podcast. He's got that going on every night of the week now. He's got a 30-minute show. Him and opinions vary. So tune into that. I believe that's 7 p.m. Eastern.